Hi, I'll pick up where I left off in the last video from the chapter on the Anschlag in Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach's Versuch über die wahre Art, das Klavier zu spielen. We see falling seconds following repeated notes in Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata. The second subject of the first movement is built around such a constellation as we see in figure 84b. How much time is spent in the cage when they're not rattling doorknobs, practicing those precious shakes? In the video I have Beethoven's broken octaves addressing Dr. John O'Connor. I talk about his doorknob rattling. Singing has no place in the cage, the place of notes and noise. With the shake, one gets 3 equal notes. The legato, the slur, requires the principal note to be longer than the other notes of the ornament. That is why the shake kills the slur. It is too slow. For the first zigzag sign of the musical idea, that is over the G flat, I play an Anschlag. For the next, over F, I play a short appoggiatura from above. And for the third, over E flat, I again play an Anschlag. Wir werden aus der Folge ersehen, dass mancher Fall mehr als eine Art von Manieren erlaubet. Hier brauche man den Vorteil der Veränderung. The variety in the ornamentation helps the phrase and the weight distribution of the alla breve. An artist will consider such things. Here's some of paragraph 1 from the chapter on ornaments in general. And Bach is talking about the ornaments, saying about them: Sie hängen die Noten zusammen. Sie beleben sie. Sie geben ihnen, wenn es nötig ist, einen besonderen Nachdruck und Gewicht. In the context of the greater phrase, it, as a response, thus balances the call of the long dotted SF G flats. The call and response is lost on the roll of honour. The greater phrase is lost on the roll of honour. There's just one bar after the next with them, one note after the next. Call and responses happen everywhere and all the time in music. When was the last time you heard mention of it in your lessons or in masterclasses or in YouTube videos? That is evidence of their illiteracy. I would even argue that the ornamentation and its variety make the phrase, where it becomes the melody, or it makes the melody. Here's some more of paragraph 1. Sie, die Ornaments, geben einen ansehnlichen Teil der Gelegenheit und Materie zum wahren Vortrage. So I would suggest, to get over the newness of it, or of it being different, hearing it as a melody, listening to it as if that is how it is meant to be. You know, think of the notes. Listen for all the notes. And imagine that that was Beethoven's melody. His actual melody. Here's some of the preface. Nur wäre es zu wünschen, dass die Unterweisung auf diesem Instrumente hin und wieder etwas verbessert. Und das wahre Gute, welches, wie überhaupt in der Musik, also besonders auf den Klavieren noch bisher bei wenigen anzutreffen gewesen ist, dadurch allgemeiner würde. Die vortrefflichsten Meister in der Ausübung, denen man etwas Gutes abhören könnte, sind noch nicht in so großer Anzahl zu finden, als man sich vielleicht einbilden dürfte. Bach is referring to the role of honor there. You know, in any society, the role of honor will be seen as the vortrefflichsten Meister. Bach is saying they're not as great as you might believe them to be. Das Abhören einer Art erlaubten Diebstahls, aber ist in der Musik desto notwendiger, da, wenn auch die Abgunst unter den Menschen nicht so groß wäre, viele Sachen aufstoßen, die man kaum weisen, geschweige schreiben kann, und die man also vom bloßen Hören erlernen muss. So, how does my version compare to the flat, repetitious, dull, notey monotony of the Roll of Honor's Lieblich and Trillerchen, when you listen to their versions in the same way? Imagine Beethoven had written out the notes and that was his melody, and then compare it to the notes of what I do, and the variation, the diversity in what I do compared to the uniformity, the incessant repetition and the notiness of what the Roll of Honor do, which reflects the standard of Beethoven. And now I don't want to influence your decision here. Der Mangel an Kennzeichen der Manieren nötigt also die Komponisten oft, das Zeichen des Theor dahin zu setzen, wo der Triller entweder wegen der Geschwindigkeit kaum möglich oder wegen der Schleifung ungeschickt ist. Beethoven's opinion of Lilliput, or the Roll of Honor, is well enough known, I'd say. I mean, I at least have, from the exposure I've had to information about Beethoven, that he didn't necessarily look up to the Roll of Honor. Like I mentioned before, I think he was trolling them. and they're still falling for it. Donkeys chasing carrots on sticks. Kissing, saying, look at me and how much better I can chase the carrot than all those other donkeys. They never get the carrot because the carrot is the music. And their lieblichen Trillerchen kill the slur, kill the singing, and thus kill the music. They turn Beethoven's composition into notes and noise. It's like in the story of Pinocchio. Romanticism brought everyone to Pleasure Island, and they all turned into donkeys. And those donkeys are what pass as artists these days. If illiteracy takes hold of a generation, that generation is going to pass its illiteracy onto the next generation. Until that cycle is broken, a dark age descends. Beethoven lets them walk right into it and make donkeys of themselves. And while it might not have served the greater good, I have to hand it to Beethoven. It is hilarious. And when your eyes are open and your ears are open, you'll see how ridiculous it is. And, you know, kissing, Sokolov, all of them. When people get informed and this cycle, this epidemic or pandemic of illiteracy has been combated, you know, they're going to cringe at what they were doing. Everything I say is correct and true. I stand behind everything I say, and I let it be examined and let it be seen, let it be proven that what I say is incorrect. And let that, and proven with substance to the argument. Okay, I'll leave it at that for this video. And I'll pick up where I left off in the next. Thanks. Bye.